Hello, everybody, and welcome on this fine Sunday afternoon to the Games Done Quick Hot Fix. My name is Adef, and this is PB Precipice, one of our newest shows where we showcase runners doing real, legitimate, personal best attempts in their most current speedrun. But gamers, a few announcements before we get started. First of all, today is the last day for Frost Vital's game and volunteer submissions. Go to gamesdonequick.com for more information. If you missed out on any GDQ Hotfix shows, check out our archive of past runs and shows at youtube.com/gamesdonequick. And if you are watching on YouTube, feel free to join us sometime over at twitch.tv/gamesdonequick to check out our live shows starting most nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. And while you're there, Hotfix is funded in part thanks to your subscriptions and bits, so please consider subscribing to help support future broadcasts. But today, Samurai Man, how are you?
Good. Hey, Adep, what's up?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to have this game on. You know, Metroid Dread just came out, what, like a month ago, 2 months ago?
A little bit over a month ago.
So Samu, you know, what sort of drew you to this run when the game came out?
At the release, I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna play this, see how it is. I'm gonna try out some stuff, and while playing, I started to feel like this is gonna be a fun speedrun game. I can feel it. Even if I'm not speedrunning it, I still had lots of fun to play it, and then I've just been speedrunning since the release.
Nice.
It runs for any percent, new glitches and skips have been found. That's how the all bosses category became a thing. Bosses are skipped. Then there was 100%, low percent, like some people know, minimal amount of items, equipments to beat the game is also a thing. And yeah, I've been mostly focusing on any percent. I started to switch to all bosses, so I get some more different kind of runs to do. And yeah, I've been just enjoying the game a lot, getting a couple world records here and there. But my main goal has been like getting my own times over, and when I'm happy with that, I'll just move on or so.
Sweet. And gamers, just to give you a little bit of an understanding of what PB Precipice is exactly and what's sort of going on. PB obviously stands for personal best, and you know, on the Games Done Quick stream, we often see runners sort of doing things very safely, or maybe they're doing marathon safe strats, quote unquote, as it were. So PB Precipice is sort of intended to give you a broad, real view at what a typical speedrunning stream might look like. So there's an opportunity for resets. They're doing pure attempts, and you know, I sort of give the runners that come on this show, you know, they have full license to do the attempts however they like. If they want to do tons of resets, no resets, whatever. So I think Samu's sort of leaning towards the no reset regime here. But we also have Samu's splits, and we'll get into sort of what that all means a bit later. And then on the estimate in the bottom right, you will see Samu's current PB, 1:12:55. And with that, Samu, whenever you're ready, just give a countdown and let's start this thing.
Alright, let's get started right away then. So I guess first of all, before we start, is that the community has decided to start after the very first cutscene, which is not skippable. There's some dialogues you go through, and after all those dialogues, the very first cutscene starts, and that one you can skip. But the thing about these cutscenes, you can skip them after you have watched them once. And for that, you can do that. You beat the game once, and you can skip all the cutscenes after that. So at least beating a game once in your profile of your choice has to be done. So you have all the cutscenes skippable. So I have this file already done, watching the first cutscene. So like all I can do is just start the time. And I'll start it in a 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck, have fun.
Thanks. It takes a while. It takes like 25 seconds for starting to control Samus. The very first minute or two is kind of like it's a reset point for us, because we do a trick called pseudo wave shots, where we shoot through a wall without having a wave beam. You get a wave beam later in a game, but for this glitch to work, we have to do a slide, and with a somersault, the spinning animation Samus has, we can shoot through a wall like a certain moment. And we have these two tricks here. One of them is not too bad, but the other one is quite reset heavy, because there's not like really a setup for it. We just kind of go by the feeling. Luckily they're very early in the game, so you don't have to worry about them after that, because the other ones later are a little bit easier, some are harder, but those ones at least has a setup. Usually when I do attempts, I tend to be quite focused on what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And also, this this game seems pretty involved. Like that trick there. Obviously, I'm totally out of my depth here, but I've seen just how high the execution skill ceiling is for this game.
Yeah, so those 2 shots I did there for those plots, they're not intended that way at all. Those are glitches. Now you just see me going to the first boss fight in just the 2 minutes. Though I'm not gonna do the boss fight. Oops. Because I'm setting up for a glitch later. I'll explain it when we get to that point. That will come up in like 30 minutes if I don't reset. I tend to not reset my runs when I get a run going after these 2 shots. Sometimes I do, but I've always liked to keep going with my runs personally.
Yeah, that's kind of, as I explained before, PB Precipice, we've sort of had the run of the gamut, right? Like, our technical first show, Dangers was on doing Super Mario Galaxy, and he sort of decided to do like a no reset, kind of, then some attempts, then finish with a proper no reset. Bobby was on last time doing a shorter Castlevania game, and he was doing tons of resets. It's just sort of whatever the runner prefers, because also, like, style is really important as far as like what helps your mindset. And Samu prefers no resets, which is totally understandable.
I usually prefer no resets, but it also depends on a game. If I was playing Sunshine and I was going for a personal best attempts, that game is a lot different than Metroid Dread, but that game on the other hand is a lot more optimized after so many years of running it. It has RNG that can easily just kill the run, and you lose so much time that you have to reset over that. Meanwhile, for Metroid Dread, there's not that many like run-killing RNG, random elements of the game that will just kill the run. But enemies are kinda RNG, so even if I did get caught by them and I get killed by them, I will still continue, just see how the run ends up going. And if I feel like resetting, then I'll reset. But I tend to always be that person. I rather just keep going with my run. If I'm 50 minutes in, I have 20 minutes left of the run, may as well finish the run for good practice. Yes, it depends on the speedrunners too. I don't know about you, Adif. Is that, do you have a stronger mid game, early game, or late game in speedruns when you do attempts?
It's an interesting question, right? Like, I feel like in short runs, we try to focus on the whole game. But in longer runs, like an hour or longer, it varies a lot, but I think I find myself being better at late game because I think I prioritize practicing the late game because it's scarier.
Yeah.
And then as a result, my early game isn't as strong. But there's also games where if the early game is difficult and it's super reset heavy, then you wind up getting really good at the early game.
Yeah.
Because you reset it so often.
That's for me that for the past years, I've like put less time on practicing because I've put my more time on focusing on making content for my channel and YouTube. So
right,
practicing hasn't been like my main focus for a while. But I do practice here and there when I see that, okay, I need to practice this because this is giving me too much issue now.
Right. And I have always contended that some of the best practice is just doing runs.
That's also a good point.
And as somebody like you who, you said you really like doing no resets. No resets are a great way to practice. Also, gamers, if you look on the left side of the screen right now, you'll see that -3. And, I'm sort of just going to, as we go along here in PB Precipice, sort of explain the bare minimum is what's going on. And Samu is 3 seconds ahead of his PB at that split. So currently Samu is ahead of his 1:12.55.
That's right. Those who have played the game, you probably noticed I just got the melee counter cutscene again. And I'm pretty sure everyone remembers that, hey, I got that only once, why did you get it twice? Well, that is because we went to the Corpus fight earlier in a run, and we restarted from a checkpoint. For some reason, it resets the melee counter, and we do this again because we're setting up a glitch later. That's how we can get a one item much earlier than we are supposed to. I won't spoil it yet. You don't know what it is, Ade, so everyone who's seen a speedrun of this game, you know what it is, but I won't spoil it because it's gonna be a really nice surprise.
I'm pumped.
Keeping you hooked in now. Now you can't stop watching the stream anymore.
I know. I also really want to play this now. Because I just haven't. I don't know. I'm really bad at playing new games when they come out. But I'm quite interested in this now. It looks so good.
It is a really well made game. So there I was mostly using missiles because it's the best DPS. You need to have a charge beam shots or missiles to hit his Corpus head. And when he's invisible, I can still hit him. And the more shots I got to him in a second phase, makes the third phase faster then because all the damage counts in for total damage even. Normally we are not supposed to fight Corpus before we have Spider Magnet, right, Ade? Right?
Right, yeah. Sure. Me, the most knowledgeable person, is what's going on.
You have played the game though, am I correct? So yeah, Spider Magnet is supposed to be gotten before beating Corpus because that's also used in a boss fight to avoid the poison. But we completely skipped that and we don't even need it because it's faster to do it in this order. Right now we need to collect that item. There is not a possible chance at the moment at least to do a reverse boss order. That is quite a hard speedrun category in a Super Metroid where you beat Ridley first, then you beat Dragon, after that Phantom, and lastly Ride. For this game right now it's not possible because we cannot get out of this area without having Spider Magnet and Phantom Cloak that we get from beating the first enemy, the second enemy technically, and Corpus.
Also, gamers in the chat room, if anybody has any questions for Samu at any part of the run, just pop them in the chat and I can field them to Samurai Man. They could be about anything.
There are different strats. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that every enemy has a different spot where we can do these strats with the Omega Stream and Omega Cannon. This is the one of the second fastest, but the fastest will be just a couple seconds faster, but a lot riskier because how close you are to the enemy when you're taking off its faceplate. So this is a lot more consistent and still really fast setup for what I just did.
So Samu, you're only 10 minutes into the run, but all things considered, like given the length of the run, that's actually a pretty good chunk. How do you feel about this run so far?
It's hard to say when we haven't gotten to the point where all of the harder stuff is starting, which is like 30 to 40 minutes in, where we have some of the hardest bits of the game. And later on, at the end of the run, we still have something hard to come out to do, which is one of the glitches recurrent for the skip that was found a while ago. And we also have final boss fight, which is no joke anymore. It used to be a kind of a joke because how we could be very at that, but now it's a lot harder because those who don't know, we can actually beat the game with just this suit upgrade we have. Yeah, you can beat the game with a power suit. Though, for beating the game with just a power suit means that we are also a lot more vulnerable to any more attacks, meaning that we'll take a lot more damage from the final boss and later game mobs. We have to be a lot more careful when we take damage, if at all we take damage.
Samu, I've got a couple questions in chat here if you're ready.
I'm ready because we have a loading zone coming up, and loading zones takes usually like 20, 15, 25 seconds depending what kind of area we go to.
Okay, so the first one is, Samu, do you have a cat? And if so, what is its name?
I don't have a cat.
No cat. All right, first question, done. Second question, what is the world record for this game at the moment?
For the any person, it's 1 hour, 10 minutes and 59 seconds, unless it's beaten already, but Carter Freak should have it right now.
1:10:59, excellent. And does this run use ledge warps?
No. Ledge warps were actually going to be done in this route, but it was found out there's an easier way to do this glitch for getting an invincibility. That is a glitch where you just don't take damage at all. You're invincible all that time until you deactivate it with a couple ways. The ledge warp is a frame perfect trick with a morph ball where you grab the ledge in a specific animation that Samus does. If you do it in a right frame, you can warp to that ledge later from anywhere you want, as long as you're in the same area, by being mid-air with the morph ball and holding that direction you grab the ledge from. So like, if you grab the ledge to the left side while climbing to the left side, you can do the glitch by jumping mid-air and holding to the left direction. Then you warp to that ledge where you did that glitch. We're not gonna do that because it's not recurrent. There's an easier way, or better way, let's say, to do the glitch instead. That was going to be that almost we had to start using the. Oh boy, that's. I almost did a nice little time saver there, but I messed up there. Usually that kind of mistake will be for many runners too big of a mistake maybe this early, but for me I just don't mind it too much. Maybe it's just because right now I wanted to start focusing on all bosses because how much I've done any person, and there's like nothing new right now for any person but just getting better time by making less mistakes, improving your movement here and there, making a little bit better strats. Now I just wanna keep it fresh for myself. Which is why I'm more focused on all bosses right now. But I can still do any person
There's a question
stuff.
here that says, do you think sub 110 is possible with the current route?
Yes, I think it's possible. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be possible.
Also, some gamers are asking, I'll sort of explain what the other stuff on the splits is, or are, rather. So there's this thing that says best possible time. And what this is Samu's PB is 1:12:55, right? But he has best times on each segment, i.e., like, or you know, the best he's ever played that segment, regardless of whether it was in separate runs. And all those best segment times combined makes the sum of best segments. And so Samu's sum of best is, you know, probably 110 something.
Yep.
But his best possible time is, okay, given the splits Samu has already done in this run, how much time save is left in all the remaining splits when you add up the difference between his splits in his PB and the difference between the sum of best segments from here to the end?
Yeah, many runners would show their sum of best instead of best possible time. I've started to like the best possible time just to like see, okay, if I play this really well, I make less mistakes. What kind of time I might be able to get? Sliding off every ledge is a few frames faster than just walking off from it.
People are discussing mashing technique.
Oh yeah,
Twitch,
I know that's a very common question. Do you use turbo controller, streamer? No.
Turbo is pretty much banned in like every game category, etc.
Except for RPGs, when there's a lot of text mashing, then it just makes sense to have it allowed, but it's separated from other categories, of course. But I even uploaded a YouTube video where I show my mashing technique, and yet people are still asking, use a turbo controller. It's a fun discussion.
Yeah, it's sort of an interesting thing, right? Because like mashing comes down to two things: inherent physical ability, which is just like you either have it or you don't. And I mean, there are techniques. There's a funny tweet from Yashi the other day that was like people talking about their mashing techniques, but it's all the same.
That's right.
But I do think there are a few different ways to do it.
Yeah,
like double mashing, single mashing.
I can personally only mash with the one hand, and I use an index finger for it. That's the method I was able to use for the Wind Waker zombie hovers, but that's just the technique I stick with. I haven't tried the double.
I double for zombie hovers.
Okay.
I find it more consistent personally, and also less physically taxing on one arm. But yeah, it's an interesting sort of discussion that comes up sometimes when people are discussing technique. There's like rubbing your finger over the button back and forth. There's actually repeatedly pressing. There's moving the controller into your finger.
Sliding a finger on the button is pretty good if the button is small, like for the SNES controller.
Yeah.
Nintendo. But for a controller like Pro Controller, GameCube controller, it's not that valid option.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Yeah, raised buttons, it is painful to do it that way. I think some Guitar Hero and Clone Hero players use the sort of moving your finger over the button.
Yeah.
Because the buttons are so shallow.
So, what to talk about when we are in a loading zone, Tyron?
There were some people asking about if any major skips have been found, and I know the answer is yes. But I'll let you take sort of what the big stuff has been.
Yeah, some major skips are we have a way to skip diffusion beam, so we can skip Cried Battle, we can skip Trokuga boss fight. If you don't know what it is, it's just think about the sports porn of this game. It's then there's an ice missile skip, and we can also skip both suit upgrades. Those are something we can skip. There is also a way to skip flash shift. It's not recurrent, but not really fair to skip in any percent. And there's some other stuff like early grapple beam, early gravity suit. Those are not done anymore in this current route though. This route, this any percent run I'm doing is called any percent unrestricted. The community kind of decided on how to call a category that is any percent, but it uses everything that is allowed for glitches. So I don't know how the community decided on that, but I would assume they took the Sekiro approach. Sekiro has that huge glitch, air swimming, and other stuff that kind of fixed the game. And you can do stuff like any order when you get the swimming. So they have an unrestricted categories, no air swim, and glitchless. So Metroid Dread probably did the same approach, and there's unrestricted and glitchless categories. Run. But I guess maybe it's a no major glitches that community also was talking about. That what is a major glitch in this game? A couple of them are definitely a major glitch, but it also is is it borderline just barely a major glitch or not? It's an interesting discussion in all the time for Metroid Dread community.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird one, like, in general for a lot of games, right? Like, what is a major glitch? You know, if something new gets found and it saves this much time, do we add it? Does the route change? There's also a question in here, chat, or in chat for you, Samu. What does low percent look like for this game currently?
Low percent, from my understanding, looks like you can skip both jump upgrades. You can skip spin boost, space jump, you can skip splash shift. I'm pretty sure you can skip both suit upgrades too, but I haven't seen it personally. But I know for sure you can skip flash shift at least, from what I heard, and both jump upgrades. There's a spin jump that is basically the double jump of this game, and space jump from the previous Metroid, 2D Metroid games, the known space jump, infinite jumping all the time. These loading screens are always a good point for me to talk with my chat and read it out and touch and just take a small break for the next part.
Right. It seems like people are saying that low percent is 0%.
Yeah, so for this game, getting an upgrade from like a white beam, morph ball, bombs, and such things like that, they don't count the parts, the percent counter for in a menu that you can see after you have played the game and saved it. It only counts in missiles, E-tank parts and such things, but not, or not some reason, not those equipment stuff, upgrades and such. So it counts towards the individual area that you are in, counts for them. But I would still call it a low percent instead of 0% because you can beat the game with all the upgrades you can get for Samus and still call it 0%.
Gamers, if at any point you enjoy what you are seeing, which I'm sure you are, I implore you to go to twitch.tv/samuraiman and drop a follow. It is free, it is easy, it's like 2 clicks, and you're not going to regret it. Samu has been speedrunning for longer than almost anyone in this community, and has played a lot of games over the years, so I highly recommend a follow. The link will be in the chat by yours truly. So be sure to check them out.
Thank you for advising me.
Yeah, of course.
I do stream very often, that's what I can say, 5 to 6 times a week. Sometimes less, depending if I want to have a little break. I did stream this game every day when the game was released for like 3 weeks straight. I think the shortest stream I had since the game's release was 4 hours, but everything else was over 6 hours, maybe 8 hours even.
Wow.
It's a grind. Love the game so much.
Question, is your favorite boss fight skipped or not?
Yes, it is skipped, unfortunately. But my second favorite boss is not skipped. Right now, the any person speedrun, it skips 3 main bosses and a couple of these mini bosses that are just reused, same bosses but in different areas. You can skip them. But 3 main bosses, and one of them is my favorite, is skipped, unfortunately. Alright, so normally I would have to go get Varia's suit if we were doing no major glitches, but with the new techniques and glitches, we're gonna take this invincibility glitch on this door, and we can go through heat rooms without taking any damage. So So what happens there is that I try to enter the enemy zone, but I interrupt that by unmorphing. If I do it frame perfectly, I can just run through enemies after that. Which also means we can go through heat rooms and cold rooms without any issues. What disables the glitch is going to the enemy zone or entering a cutscene into the next load area. It took a while there, so I definitely lost time, even if I played really well this next part. But that's not really like the point. I will still reset on. And I like a jet. ADF, I think is they're called. ADF.
Yes, yeah, ADF, ADF, it's all good.
ADF, so I usually prefer no resets, so
Right.
don't think I'm gonna be resetting over that. Except if this Emmy is gonna catch me. The speed Emmy. They're pretty fast. Those who wonder how you're supposed to get bombs early, if you have Varia suit and you come here, that's just how you can get bombs before a Cried. The amount of times we... Sorry, go ahead.
The movement tech just looks so fluid.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I was gonna say the invincibility glitch has to be done in this run at least 3 times. 4th is optional, but it helps a lot for the boss fight. I didn't lose that much time than I thought.
So Sammy, what is sort of the like scary segment coming up?
Scary segment, I would say. Well, this particular one can be scary because of the infinite bomb jump that I'm going for. I don't have to do it, but it saves a good amount of time if I get it. And I rather do it because it's pretty cool, and I wouldn't want to be scared of doing it in a good base runs ever.
Question here in chat. Can you do the invincibility glitch for the final boss?
Nope. Because invincibility glitch recovers an emitter, and there's no emitter for the final boss. Also, even if you get to the final boss, the cutscene takes it over because, yeah, that's how it disables the glitch. That's one way. But some of the scariest segments will be after like 40 minutes or so. Yeah, around the 42 minutes after later. If you look at my timer, 29 minutes right now. So in 42 minutes, there will be a very scary skip that I was just getting pissed off because there was like no consistent setup to it. But they want a consistent setup to it, so now it can be done fairly well. It was a like those who have seen a speedrun, the Rokuga skip is a lot easier and honestly pretty free to do if you have diffusion beam. But without diffusion beam, it's like 10 times harder. It's like near impossible. But with the current setup that was found, it became a lot more manageable to do. There's the blob that we have to shoot through the wall 4 times without diffusion beam. But with the diffusion beam, it's only 2 charged shots, and it doesn't even have to be amazingly well timed or really well done. If you can just whiff it and almost get it all the time. So the upcoming part that is scary is coming up really soon after couple rooms. Actually, just one room ahead. I need to do infinite bomb jump on this locked door, and I need to get it open so I can get to the flash shift like 20 seconds earlier if everything was right. Don't wanna be scared of doing it, so just keep going with it.
Sure.
And there you go.
And what is that skip?
It doesn't skip anything, but just gets to the flash shift earlier. If we had a grapple beam, there will be a grapple beam block just underneath us, and we could just use that instead. But we're getting it later. This upcoming trick I'm gonna do with the bomb jump underwater is not necessary, but it saves a good amount of time, like just 5 seconds or something, or whatever time it takes to go back from the morph holes.
Nice.
So what I'm doing here is I'm dash meleeing into the wall, and I'm looking at this certain angle I can shoot through, just a little bit shoot through to that flop. That's how I can skip diffusion beam and get speed booster before it. But we're skipping it, so we don't have to get it. Yeah, so for this speedrun, we're actually getting optimally, if we don't pick up any upgrades for missiles, we will end up with 45 missiles. Getting missiles is good, it's better DPS, we don't have to mash that hard with the beams to deal the damage. But we go with 45 right now, at least I go with 40%. The older route used to get 65, and we had ice missiles, which is better DPS than super missile. However, for the final fight, super missile is better for one phase skip that I will explain later when we get to the final boss, if I remember it. Dash melee does damage, and that's how we can take down those rings. If I was just doing a standing or mid-air melee, that would actually damage me.
It's an interesting question about if the time used in the leaderboard includes cutscenes. The answer is yes. It's pretty common for Metroid runs or runs with in-game time. If the in-game time isn't like completely accurate to real time, quote unquote, it's pretty common for leaderboards to use both. You sort of use like in-game time like a benchmark, like, oh, I got a 112 or a 113 or whatever.
For this game, in-game time is slower than, or longer rather, than real time. So if I get 112.55, my in-game time was 127. That's because it adds the cutscenes. That's vice versa for this game for some reason. Okay, we have the best item in the game, speed booster. I see some speed boost tech now. How we can use this. And everyone's favorite, giant sparks. I failed that, but it's fine.
So the E-tanks, I assume, are just for safety?
Yeah, pretty much, because anything in the late game is almost gonna one-shot us if we only have like 2 or 3 tanks, so it's better to go with 4 or 5. I got 5. I did say during the run that we don't get the suit upgrades. Every suit upgrade actually gives you a more defense, so we will take less damage with Varia suit and then with the gravity suit. Okay, for this next part, it says in a split there's a camera lock, start camera lock. That is a kind of skip that, or glitch rather, that I need to have an audio from the TV or my monitor to be high enough so I can higher up so I can hear the game. Because you're gonna see something that requires audio cues very soon. If you remember in the start of the run, I was doing that stuff with the Corpius. That's what the glitch is gonna be about. The camera lock is gonna be about that. You might be hearing the game for a while here, pretty loud. I'm sorry about that, but that's because I need the game audio. But it's only for this part when I'm doing the camera lock. I'll take it down take it lower when the camera lock is over.
A gold split means you've done the segment better than you ever had.
Yes. If you remember this melee tutorial, I'm doing this once again, but this time I'm gonna kill the enemy and I'm gonna lock the camera in place. And that's why I have to split here, because we are gonna play this game blind. You can ask questions after, by the way, please. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay, any questions?
Yeah, what happened?
Okay, so I locked the camera in place, which means that I can actually play off screen, and everything in off screen is actually unloaded. Doors are open, blocks are unloaded. I can actually get to the screw attack early, like this, using the camera lock. So that's why I had to have a audio cues, because I need to know where I am in that whole moment. And I have these certain audio cues and setups that I'm using to find my path. The screw attack. If you remember this pseudo wave shots, I'm doing the same thing here. This one is actually frame perfect as far as I know, or very precise that I have to use a pausing method. And everyone is preferring to use a pausing method anyway. Okay, now we have screw attack, what we are supposed to have much later. And we're gonna go head back, get to Barenia. We're gonna see some speed booster tech here. I'll be saving some time.
This one is non-stop.
Yeah, I'll be saving some time in this split. My personal best didn't have that good pseudo wave surge. Just after the screw attack, I was having some trouble with them. But yeah, that's what camera lock was. I can see from the chat everyone were like, what's going on? What happened? And that was everyone's first reaction. That's why we have to set up at the very start of the game to go to Corpius so we can do the melee tutorial. Then we have to do it again just to make sure we have to make it that we have it. Kill the enemy, and after killing the enemy, the camera gets locked because you're supposed to be killing the enemy with the melee counter, but because we killed it earlier and it didn't already load in, that's how you can lock the camera in place. And to get out of the camera lock glitch, you have to use a shine spark when you're standing still or you're not morphed. When you're morphed, you actually don't take off, disable the camera lock. Split. The question in the chat, why do we need to leave the camera lock? You can't collect anything when you're not in a haven't loaded anything. Basically everything is unloaded like far away when we are in a camera lock. You have to disable it so we can actually collect the screw attack. Normally at this point we wouldn't have a screw attack, right? But because we have it, we can use screw attack to kill this robot soldier right away. It's just like that. The older strats actually use the Shine Spark twice. Shine Spark in this game is actually fixed, meaning that either it kills the enemy with one shot, or it does half of its HP damage and stuns it, or it does nothing. You have any questions, Adef?
I don't know, I'm kind of just enamored by the Shine Spark movement, like, you know, transferring it into Morph Ball and just like moving around so quickly. It's really dynamic.
Yeah, so that super missile pack, or missile plus pack, I actually did it in such a hard way, but then I found out, oh, you can use a Morph Ball. Then it was a lot easier.
So I assume the camera lock was sort of the scary thing you were talking about.
Yeah, it's one scary thing. If I do something wrong, I forget where I'm supposed to go, or so, I'm lost, then yeah, that's really hard. Tough spot to be on then.
Samu, there's a question in chat here. What is your favorite speedrun?
That's a tough question because over the years it always changes depending on a game I'm playing. It will be Sunshine, but right now it's not. It's been Metroid Dread. But if I have to say overall my favorite speedrun ever, then I would say Sunshine. But right now, Dread. I have speedrun like I don't even know. Can't count them. There's too many. Probably 60 different games of speedrun. Some more, some just couple runs.
Right. Samu, you are one of the only other people that have done the 3D Zelda challenge.
Mm-hmm. I think I was the first one ever to do that before Breath of the Wild was released, but that was in 2014.
Yeah, it was
15,
like, I think you were first, and then maybe SVA.
I think it was SBA after that, yes.
And then
where
Chaotic Ace did it.
Yeah, Demon has done it too, Gymnast as well.
Yep. And then
It's
after Breath of the Wild came out, I did it.
Okay.
And then Gymnast and Demon.
Okay, some speed booster tech here. Open your jobs now. Oh, I failed it, damn it.
Darn,
Oh well.
dude.
I did the hard part on that actually, which is keeping the speed boost through that door where I went through. That's a very hard part. Okay, so here's a water spore spawn of this game, and there's a setup we can use here to do through the wall here. Always the last shot. Give this to me now. Oh.
There's a question in chat. What is the 3D Zelda challenge? It is a single speedrun where you play Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword, and of course recently Breath of the Wild. In one big speedrun.
All one go, back to back. When I did it, it took less than 18 hours. But now it's 7 hours.
My PB is 9 hours and change for all 6. It's funny how like we added a game and it's still way faster just because the games have evolved so much over the years.
Yeah, thanks to all these credits for and such for Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, but the Wind Waker and Skyward Sword, getting those big skips with the barrier skip and I don't even know reverse big magic shenanigans with the Skyward Sword and nobody understands how it works. You just do this little thing here and oh, oops, you can beat the game now. It's got that kind of thing, kinda to me.
Yeah, Skyward Sword saved 4 hours, Twilight or Wind Waker like 3 hours.
Yeah, something like that. I got a speed booster there. A shine spark to the mini boss, Jojo's shoulder. How do you say Jojo, by the way?
Chozo.
Jozo, yes. Because you know I have this accent, so I say Jozo.
You're Finnish, correct?
Yes, I'm Finnish.
Are there many speedrunners from Finland?
There are actually. Just this weekend, I was playing in a Finnish television studio with Sunshine, and they had a Finnish championship for Super Mario Brothers 3 with, you know, Mitch Flower Power, I assume. And yeah, he did I assume he was the first one to implement this like kind of point system for skill points, or so that you can collect while beating a game from start to finish without skipping any worlds, or less basically. So they had that as a Finnish finals there because it seems to be pretty popular in Finland.
Interesting.
If we didn't have a screw attack for that Jojo shoulder, we would have to do a Shine Spark. Takes half of its HP or so. Then just spam missiles. And maybe get a counter in if it doesn't attack, but every attack it does are RNG. There is a good point in the chat that Finland apparently has a lot of speedrunners compared to the population size. or so, how I understand it.
That's really quite fascinating.
Good thing about having screw attack early is just killing any enemy with one shot with punch. Don't have to worry about moving super slick and trying to avoid some enemies.
Also, you'll notice that the Intergavoran split for Samu was a different color. That is what a gold split looks like. So that is the fastest Samu has ever performed that split. It might be possibly because the Interferenia split was a little bit late.
Yeah, a little bit, but also that new setup that was found for Kuka skip that I was doing at the end of the split has a setup now. I was spending less time on that than in my previous gold split.
Ah, nice.
I can still beat it a lot, I can know that. These E-tanks are not necessary, but trust me, when you're in a final boss and you get hit by one of the attacks, it's just 2 or 3 E-tanks are gone, just like that, so I would recommend going with maybe less than just 4, for any person that is, if you decide to do this route.
And that's due largely to the lack of armor, right?
Yeah, that is right. I can't remember, maybe it was Super Metroid that had that. When you get Varia Suit, you have like 50% more damage reduction or whatever. You take way less damage with Varia Suit. But then Gravity Suit, if you get that earlier, you take like, I don't know, one out of 4 less damage or something like that. So Varia Suit is way better for defense in that game. I don't know about this game, but I would assume they're kind of same still. More insane speed booster strats coming up. Keep your eyes open.
Just a question here, Samu. Do you get bothered by the part of the year in Finland where it's dark for most of the day?
It actually does bother me when it's autumn, then it becomes winter, and it's just like a majority of the day is just dark. There has to be something to light your days then. Nice. Oh no, I messed up that. Oh well. I would have been able to keep it all the way to the door, that speed boost, but I made a little bit of mistake there. I don't like that Emmy. These Emmy locations are RNG. They're gonna set spots depending on what door you're coming from. And that Emmy is Ice Emmy. It freezes you in this game. And when it's freezing you, you stand still for a couple of seconds until you get out of it. Or you just smash out of it, but when you get caught, that's not good. Okay, so we got the new invincibility glitch here again. This is because the next boss fight is much more faster with invincibility, but it also depends how fast you get this invincibility, I guess.
Question in chat, you said we skipped your favorite boss. Which one is it?
Experiment Z57. My favorite boss of this game. that boss just got deleted pretty much. That's what for invincibility glitch is really good. We can just use the science spark right next to it like that, to the weak point, and it's just gone. And because having invincibility, the X score just gets deleted right away too. You're supposed to be able to only get 3 hits to it. Then it would have iframes on and you can't damage it. This boss in this game at the moment is never going to be skipped until there's a way to get to Hanubia from the other elevator, or you can go around those doors without finding the boss fight. There's no other reason to beat the boss, but the only way to get to the Hanubia is to go through this train or whatever you call it. There's a grapple beam block blocking your way to get to the Hanubia from Verenia. And I'm gonna show it which one it is. I do like the details in the background for this game a lot. Like I noticed those 2 Jojo shoulders. And this is the block that we cannot get through from Verenia. It's not possible to break it from the other side. But that block is possible to break from the other side, by the way. Right now, we're going to Verenia. We need a couple more items, then we can get the final upgrade and beat the game.
I love this backdash.
Yeah, it's the blast shift, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, no, that's not good. So Amy is not supposed to be seeing me when I'm fast enough for that, but sometimes it just wants to keep going, and that's how I get killed then. Though a good thing for the speedrunners is that if you do get caught, the last checkpoint is always when you enter an enemy zone. I also did my movement a little bit wrong there. I didn't get it lost there, but it's fine.
That's really convenient that the checkpoint system is so generous.
Yeah, it is. In previous Metroid games, like all of the Metroid games.
You die and the run's over.
Yeah, if you die, you start from your last save. In this case...
a speedrun might not ever be.
Yeah, in this case it would have been pretty much a reset. In the background, if you noticed, you can actually see the boss right before you enter the boss room. Pretty nice detail. It's just chilling there. A little bit teasing that, aha, you're gonna be my boss fight, huh? Just to find out that we're gonna kill it really fast with screw attack and shy sparks. Yeah, so every enemy is annoying in their own way. Speed booster is too fast. Ice enemy is annoying with his ice effect, and purple enemy seems to be seeing you like purple enemy actually sees you everywhere. That's the thing about purple enemy. Can see you through the walls. Because it's a wave beam enemy. No, it makes sense. You can shoot through the door with the wave beam and such. Or walls rather. Okay, next up we have a next invincibility glitch coming up. We're setting up it with this door right here. For some reason, certain doors feels way easier or different to pull out. And some doors feels a lot harder. Not sure is it because of the depth perception, because how the doors are set up. Also, by the way, these two are just gone. They're just gone with a single screw attack because screw attack hits every frame, and because we have invincibility glitch on, we can just use a one screw attack and kill them both like that. I used the Shine Spark there to get the space jump, and immediately I'm gonna flash shift to the right, back to the door where I came from, so I don't have to go around. If I'm too slow, I just jinx it. It's fine. Fine. So I was supposed to go through the door, but no, it didn't happen this time. Not a big deal though, we have space jump, doesn't take too long to go around. We still have the invincibility glitch, so we're gonna use it for this gold room to get to the enemy zone. I actually managed to get to the enemy zone without the invincibility glitch, and I used the ledge warp instead.
Oh wow.
So it didn't help for anything because we still didn't have a way to get to wave beam enemy without having a way to go through the water. But right now we have a way. You're gonna see it very soon. I'm just gonna say don't blink when it happens, but I'm gonna show you some nice stuff that you can actually do with it. It happens very fast, and I'm gonna warn you with that. The trick is called axis Q. And this is the only way currently we can skip gravity suit or boat suit upgrades. I have invincibility on, the invincibility glitch, and I'm gonna use Emmy to get this axis Q glitch. That's axis Q, which allows us to get speed boost and shine spark while standing still, pretty much like that, and that's how we can skip gravity suit.
That was
and
fascinating.
And that is just for getting through that water. You're stuck there in that water if you don't if you drop down there without gravity suit. You're soft locked. Yeah, that's a pretty cool trick.
Samus was shooting at us. That was so scary.
The first time I saw that, it reminded me of Metroid 2 ending screen where Samus is running towards the screen.
Yeah.
If you have played the original Metroid 2, for those who wonder. That's how we can get wave beam early.
Samus and Sam. It's fun that the names are similar.
Yeah, in speedrunning Discord, I would always see people are saying Samus, Samus. I'm like, is everyone mentioning me? Okay, no mind.
Multiple Samus.
There was a joke when I was doing Metroid Fusion playthrough just before the game released, that because there's an SAX in that game that mimics Samus, then someone said SAMUX, Samu X.
It's you in the game.
Yeah, it's me. Alright, we have pretty much everything except one more upgrade, which is surprising that it is the last upgrade of the game, Power Bomb. Just like in Samus Returns, actually, the remake one. I don't know, is the Power Bomb in the original Metroid 2, but interesting how Power Bomb is the most powerful item in the game, and it's the last item in the game. Somehow.
We have 2 questions in chat here, Samu. The first one is, have you tried runs in hard mode?
I have done them, but hard mode thing is that it only makes enemies to hit harder. That's it. It doesn't add the harder attacks or anything like that. You don't get less reveals or so. So hard modes are just kind of same than any percent. Normal mode, sorry. But you just take more damage. And the second question?
I realize that it kind of answers itself, but the question is, would you prefer another 2D or 3D Metroid next? But isn't Metroid Prime 4 in development?
Yes, I would prefer that. I actually lied earlier. I was saying that we are ending this run with 45 missiles, but I have 43. I was wrong. I forgot.
Just 2 lower.
Yeah, just 2. Just the 1 missile. Forgot somewhere. Not really, I don't pick up any extras. I actually go with 43 only. There is a 1 extra you can pick up just before Drakuga skip 10 missiles. If anyone wants.
Are there tricks that can crash the game? Someone asks.
Well, the crashes for this game are actually just the error because of the screw attack or speed booster strap in a certain areas, and might be because of Switch model being old, but I'm not too sure are there crashes that would happen from a glitch. So yes, there are crashes for the game, but from the glitches, no, I don't think so. I haven't had a crash happen yet. And those happens like in a really interesting place. Like one happened in a escape sequence, the very last part of the game. And some have happened in boss fights.
I guess little post-emptive flashing lights warning for anyone that has photosensitivity.
Yeah, that's a good to keep in mind for just a late game, pretty much with the power bomb. Alright, Gold Shoujo Soldier or Warrior is a lot stronger than a Red Shoujo and deals a lot more damage. There's actually an attack that just one-shots you if you have 4 E-tanks. Just saying. That's kinda the reason why you should have 5 E-tanks.
Wow.
If we had a gravity suit and barrier suit, we would take just like a 2 E-tank damage or something, so we wouldn't get one-shotted.
We are in the proper late game here, only 2 splits left.
Yes, we have a final boss coming up called Raven Bean in my split because I made a little bit of oopsie. It's supposed to be called Raven Peak, and my chat said, just keep it Raven Bean. And I'm keeping it Raven Bean then. So Raven Peak boss fight, we would have an ice missile at this point if we played it normally, but we have super missiles, and there is a way we can skip the cold phase where he puts an armor on and you can't damage him, except when you have done a melee animation and countered him. That's the only time when you can damage him. With the super missiles, you're able to do more damage than with an ice missile just for that counter for some reason. They nerfed that for just that counter. But later during the fight when you do a counter to him, the ice damage is just normal what it is. Right now for this first phase, what I'm doing is I'm dealing enough damage to make him do this attack. So then I can counter him. If I wasn't able to do this skip now, he will put on a cold armor. And I will have to wait for a next counter attack. Crossbomb deals the same amount of damage than Ice Missile Bolt. Doing the dash melee like that puts me into a perfect animation or position to avoid those hits from the Gatling gun. Feels kinda intended. I don't have missiles right now, and during this phase you don't get any item pickups, health and missiles at all, so you will have to use shots all the time. After you've lost our missiles, or use them all. That was a very good fight.
Nice job. Now I can only assume there's an escape sequence.
Yes, it's Metroid
Classic.
games.
Classic Metroid.
Every Metroid game needs to have an escape sequence in some form. If it's not in a final boss, then at least somewhere in a start or middle. When I use the hyper beam there at the end and then on the specific moment, that's only what I need to do. So I fire it prematurely first, then I release the button for shooting, and I start using it again when it's getting closer. The escape sequence has one cool speed boost strat, but it's quite hard to pull out. But there's a little bit of easier way to do that. I'll be showing it if I can get that instead. Right before we get to the ship. Here the animation for using the shine spark would happen if you're not morphing, but with the morph ball you don't get the animation and it saves a couple seconds. And that is Metroid Dread any percent.
GG, Samu. Not only time save on the last split, but also sub 115, which is I think what you were saying you would be happy with.
Yeah, I will be. I'm always pretty happy with that sub 115.
Excellent. Well, gamers, we are going to throw to a quick break. Get up, stretch your legs, grab some water, and we'll be right back with more PB Precipice, more Samurai Man, and more Metroid Dread any percent attempts in just a few moments. There's more Metroid. Do not go away. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Games Done Quick Hotfix. My name is Adef, and this is PB Precipice, the show that features runners on the verge of a personal best. Just a few quick announcements. AGDQ 2022 schedule is out. You can check it out at gamesdonequick.com/schedule. Start getting time off work. Start finding out when you want to be there, when you want to donate. And directly after this show will be It's Dangerous to Go Alone, which is one of our newer shows, and it will be featuring Celeste Bingo. And on Monday, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, we will have Awfully Silly, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, featuring licensed games, followed by That's Never Happened Before, covering glitches in Fear and Shenmue. But Samu, welcome back. How you feel after the first run?
Hey, Edith. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Obviously, some stuff went wrong, but also those are really hard, so I'm pretty happy for a no reset run, and I'm always prepared to do that, especially if a game is like this kind of plant.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. So, gamers, if you missed it, we had one no reset run just before this, because I've sort of, given runners that come on PB Precipice the license to do whatever kind of attempts they want. Do they want to do tons of resets, no resets, whatever, it's up to them. And Samu did a no reset and came in at 1:14.52. Very excellent run. And Samu, whenever you're ready to give it another go, it's all you.
Alright, let's do another run right away then. Start in 3, 2, 1, go. If something goes wrong again in the very start of the game, if you were here, I explained the very start had this pseudo wave beam shot, where we shoot through the wall, and these two specific ones are hard, but the first one is not too hard. There's a good setup and visual cues for that, but the second one doesn't really have anything, but you just need to have a right feeling for it, and that can be a huge reset point just for a very start. Luckily, it's very start. It's just only a minute and a half in, so don't have to pressure about it if it was in a late game. There's other pseudo wave beam shots, setups and strats that will be done.
I want that I dispatch you there one.
So Samu, it's probably worth redescribing, like, why do you play on a New Game Plus file, and what this upcoming trick is as well.
Yeah, the New Game Plus file, you wanna have a profile or file that has already beaten the game, so you can skip all the cutscenes that you have watched.
Also, at any point, gamers, please be sure to follow the runner. Nice pseudo wave beam shot, very nice.
Yeah, so that was the first one, and this is the second one where I say that we'll take a few more shots because we have no setup for it. Okay, we got the first shot in, it only requires 2, but this is taking too long, and this is where I would usually restart my run. It's only a minute and 40 minutes in, so it's always fine. Not over. Optimally, it will be the best that we get it in 2 shots, but no setup makes it really hard, and it's just way better that you can get it at least in, like, I don't know, 8 shots or so.
There's a question here. Is there a strat to rebind the right stick to make it consistent?
There is actually a strat that I used for a Trokuga skip. You can rebind your right joystick that is used for nothing in this game. You can rebind it for movement. And that can be used for tricks like that, I assume. But I used it for Trokuga skip because the angle for that is quite precise. And with the right joystick, you can just keep the angle all the time, as long as you don't move your thumb away from that angle. Then you use your left joystick, sliding and shooting, and so on for that then. I don't use it for... I didn't even think there was a strat for the getting to Corpus early. The second pseudo wave shot you see me doing soon. These first 3 shots for this one can be done underneath. It doesn't have to be, but the 4th shot, when it breaks down, the shot has to be done from that corner. Okay, now this is going again at the same thing, and I'm just gonna keep doing until I get it. Well, it's not going well at all. on my attempt streams, I will have this happen for like, I don't know, couple attempts. Then I will get a decent ammo, decent shots, and I will just go with that because I wouldn't wanna reset too much. But I'm not getting it at all. That's concerning to me.
Still plenty of time to reset if you'd like to.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna do it as like a practice. Try to see if I can muscle memory for this back. I had like a couple days where I just couldn't be able to do any of these shots at all I was doing for like 10 minutes or so, and it was getting frustrating. Depending on the runners, I personally don't like resetting too much. I wouldn't want to just reset 20 minutes in because I'm just 5 seconds behind. That's why I prefer no resets more. I get to play the game more, and I like to get to the late game. I get to beat the game. I enjoy beating the game. I don't enjoy being in the start of the game for 1 hour or just a couple splits and never get a run going.
That makes complete sense.
What about you, Adef?
You know, I don't love resetting also, especially in runs longer than an hour. Like, I would rather play the whole game, like you say. And also, I hate resetting like 30 minutes in.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to play the early game again.
Yeah. I get the same feeling when I'm like a half an hour in. I'm just like, no, I don't want to reset now. Just let me get this run going. Let me get it finished.
I'm kind of comfortable resetting in the first half hour, usually, I'd say, for a run this length, though. Good luck with the shots.
Thanks, I'll need it. They're not RNG shots, they're just precise angles that we have to shoot. If you notice that blob there, the red blob, you can see like I'm shooting all of my shots like just really close to it, and it's just it's a little bothersome when it happens. And none of my shots are working now. Once again, but luckily we have time. It's really interesting how there's just no setup, but fortunately it's in a very early game. Not a big deal. It's just it's patched. It was patched just that moment when I finished the run.
Just moments ago.
Yeah. If
Yeah,
anyone wonders, there have been patches that just patches some soft logs and crashes. There hasn't been anything that patches these glitches. But go ahead, Adef.
It's pretty common with like a really difficult precise trick like this, especially early in the run, to sort of get into these ruts where it like feels more difficult for some reason. This is pretty common, I would say, in speedrunning, especially with really, really difficult stuff like this.
Yeah. Let's go again. We're gonna get through finally.
I believe.
I believe too.
I have big faith.
How many hits does it take? The first one for tutorial enemy skipped, it takes 4, and that one I was just doing that's so much harder. It only takes 2. I said 4. Did I say 4? Well, I said I'm supposed to say 4 for the first one and just 2 for the next one.
So I want that I have this issue there one.
Here we go again. Oh boy. We got that one shot in, but we couldn't get the second shot. I'll just reset that.
And again, this is the purpose of PB Precipice, right? Like, the goal is to sort of showcase what speedrunning really looks like, and you know, this is what it is.
And really look like this, or you get some runs going to the 20 minutes. You lose 20 seconds and it will reset over that, or some runners keeps going.
I want that I have this there one.
Why am I resetting? Because the run is bad and I need to have a better run. Because there is a trick that is just really hard and I'm losing time on that, and I wouldn't want to lose time so early on. I try to get a better luck or shots this time, and I hope I can get through. Got that much of a time loss.
Yeah, it's also,
easier
you know,
to...
resets are heavier in the beginning of a run always, because if there's something hard at the beginning, you know, you'd rather be ahead at the start so that you can mess up stuff later.
Yeah, kind of what I do and hope to. I still didn't like that too much. I would probably go with that if I've been trying to do attempts for like 15 minutes, but I haven't done attempts for 15 minutes right now. But like ADEF also said, it's also a thing in speedruns. It's a lot easier to restart early than when you're in a late game.
Yeah. It's less of like a mental barrier to, like, if this trick were an hour in, it would be so scary, right?
Yeah, it will be a lot scary and probably will force us to find an actual setup that works consistently. Or
Right,
just
whereas,
don't do it at all.
You know,
Or
this
not
is
don't do-
fast, so you might as well just stick with it. It's in the first minute, so like it really is not a big deal.
There was a question in that chat how much time it saves. I actually don't know, because we are also setting ourselves for a camera log, so it definitely saves minutes to do this. We would have to take a completely different route to get a screw attack later, after speed booster. Let's go, 2 shots. Never mind.
You baited me there, Samu.
Yeah, I know. Premature. It's just not working. Just... Even
Is
the
it
best
same
runners of this
shot
game
for
are...
both?
Yeah. Even the best runners have issues with this. And it could just be a case that it doesn't work. You just... Then just better to not do runs if it's not working, I guess. Practicing this doesn't help at all, because you have to do the same shot, but there's no setup for it. Mostly it's just like trying to find that feeling for it, that okay, this is the spot that works, I need to bid on this spot.
Right.
The beam shot has to be done when I'm touching the ceiling, sliding first, doing the spinning animation, it's called somersault, then good, I'm touching the ceiling. And hold the joystick in a certain angle for this to work. And I'm just trying to get a second shot and I can't get it. Like this is a big time loss already, and that's why I will reset. For my first speed runs, I actually wouldn't reset because I would like to get some splits to run against.
There's an interesting sort of thing that happens sometimes too, where with a trick like this, you will find a way that feels good, do that for a while, and then it suddenly feels like that way you found doesn't work anymore. And
Yeah.
you have to like find a new way.
That's what I had like one day. I just couldn't do the first. I couldn't do the first Emmy skip. I was like, wait, what am I doing wrong? Why is this not working anymore? And now this is the same skip too, so I'm probably spending all the 35 minutes that I had extra time just to get this once. Then we can get through, and that will be our no reset run.
Yeah, I would say probably at this point we'll just take whatever we get past this.
Yeah. There's one thing I'll quickly do on my setup. This is not gonna be. Don't be scared. I'm gonna take off the webcam quickly. Game screen. I hope it doesn't affect the stream.
Nah, it'll just turn green for a second.
Yeah. Okay. So that's because my capture card is getting to that point. It's just starting to delay its game screen a little bit. So it will be like a second off in like a couple hours. Then it will be 2 seconds off from the timer, and I have delayed my timer, in my OBS settings, so it matches the game screen, so it doesn't feel like my timer is always ahead the game screen. So that's my way to fix that. So there's not a desync in an audio game screen or just a delay or internal. But anyway, back to the run number what? Run number what? Something.
It's only like 10 or something.
Yeah.
Maybe less.
So you bet I want that I this push you there one.
Fortunately for this game, that's kind of the only trick of the game you just have to find a feeling for, and it just happens to be kind of trick that works and doesn't work sometimes. And other skips are like something you can actually know what you're doing wrong when something goes wrong.
Right. This one's just a feel.
Yeah, something like that. Oh boy.
Yay!
Alright. I was waiting for the 2 shots, but it was 3 shots instead.
We have a run, gamers.
Right. And most likely, I don't know, is it run? Don't think I'll be resetting this, except when something goes very, very wrong, where I probably like a soft lock the game or something.
Yeah. Other than that, I would say we'll just take this one to the end.
Yes. There's actually a little bit of time saver here you can do with this Emmy. If you counter it, you actually save a few seconds. Because you wouldn't have to wait for the Emmy to come towards you to this door where you are right now, because it cannot crop through these holes at all. It has the faceplate too big. But you would have to counter it. That's the issue with that. For Emmy counters, if anyone wonders why we don't go for it, there's no reason to. And your reaction time has to be like perfect almost. But the first Emmy counter you can actually react to somewhat. But the second Emmy counter you have an attempt for, there's like no way to react to it, I would say, because it just happens so fast. I don't know how many frames you have for it, but it's something that I don't think anyone can react to unless you have practiced really hard react for the reaction time specific stuff for your fighting game, play fighting games and such, maybe then. But for speedrun's purpose, that will be the only Emmy you would wanna counter for time save, and others you just wanna avoid.
So for gamers just tuning in, this is PB Precipice, the show about personal best attempts, seeing what speedrunning is really like. We've got Samu here doing another attempt at Metroid Dread. We just got past sort of the hard skip Samu had been struggling with, and we're going to take this one to the end. So this is a proper no reset, gamers. So put on your pajamas, get your coffee, your cozy tea, and get ready for the long haul here. And if you are enjoying what you're seeing, I cannot emphasize this enough. You gotta follow Samu on Twitch. He streams like 5 to 6 times a week. The dude's been speedrunning for like 13 years. Quality content, great YouTube content as well. Highly recommend.
Thank you, Adef. Also, check out Adef's channel. He's a pretty good respawn speedrunner. And
Sometimes.
you do like a challenge runs for Zelda right now, some stuff like that you've done.
Yeah, I sort of,
Speedruns.
you know, not a break from speedrunning, but I wasn't really running anything seriously after the 3D Zelda challenge. It just kind of destroyed a year for me. So it's all I did for a year, so I sort of took it a little easy, but I'm back to A Link Between Worlds right now as my primary speed game.
Hey, gold
Nice.
split.
Look at that
Somehow.
split.
Somehow, gold
So
split. Let's go.
Samu's not only 10 seconds ahead, but also that is the fastest Samu has ever done that segment. So technically, this is your fastest pace ever, because it's the first split.
Yeah. The pseudo wave shots for the early Phantom Cloak, second one, was really good. Only 3 shots recurred.
It's funny how it was such a struggle point, and then suddenly it was the fastest ever.
Yeah.
It just goes to show how the trick is just kind of like, it's gonna go how it's gonna go.
One more time, we're gonna do the checkpoint reset for the Corpus fight. And we fight Corpus. Now we have set up the camera lock for later. Those who don't know, I'm gonna use a camera lock glitch to get a screw attack early. You'll see what it will look like. What will it look like? Especially for those who haven't seen it yet, it will be fantastic to see. Lost my missiles. What happened to my missiles? The more shots I get in, the better it will be for the third phase. So I want to get as many missiles there. So if I hit 3 more missiles there, then I wouldn't have had to use a charge beam at all. Unfortunate, but it's not really RNG. It's RNG, it's just how it moves its head, and it's pretty small hitbox too. That's about it.
It's still ahead.
Yep. You can also see in the background Corpus still being alive as a ghost, by the way. It's a nice deal that I noticed in my first playthrough, actually. I do like the environment you can see in the background. They really put some good effort and really nice effort on it.
Oh yeah, the backgrounds are amazing. I think that's, you know, kind of become the thing with 2.5D, like Metroidvanias, is how attractive can you make the background?
Yeah, for sure. One of the good examples, probably everyone would praise and talk about this Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
Love it.
I need to play that. Another game
Yeah.
I need to play.
You haven't played it?
Well, I've owned it for like 3 years, or I just have not played it, but I don't know, I find it difficult to like pick up casual experiences since I started speedrunning, and that was like a long time ago.
Yeah,
But-
it makes sense.
I spent the last year sort of just flying through the Dark Souls games, because those have been so enjoyable. And after I when I completed Dark Souls 1, I had to play 2. And when I beat 2, I had to play 3. And then after
what I
3,
did
I
too.
had to play Sekiro.
After 3, I played Bloodborne, then I played Raw.
So I had played Bloodborne 2 years ago before I played any of the other Souls games. And I loved it, so I don't know why I waited so long to play the others, but...
It's also, like, all the Souls games, but Sekiro, they are, like, all the kind of same. So with Bloodborne, it wants you to be more aggressive in its playstyle, but in Souls games, you want to be more defensive. And Sekiro
Right.
is like, it's a whole different game then.
Yeah. It is like, I would say that Dark Souls 3, though, is kind of similar to Bloodborne almost. Like,
Yeah, it feels
it's
like
still
it.
more defensive than Bloodborne, for sure, but it is as fast and aggressive as Bloodborne.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's fast-paced compared to other Souls games. And this is just a little bit of hype for upcoming game from them, Elden Ring.
It looks so good.
I played it this weekend and it looks fantastic. I had a good time.
You had one of the early access keys.
Yeah, Bandai Namco gave me an access key thanks to the map once again. Alright, we have gone through the starting area pretty much. I'm behind, but I wouldn't worry about it. I think at the very first days when I was doing runs, I think I did like 3 or 4 no reset runs back to back. I just did a run. I get it going. I'm not resetting, and that's how this time just goes. It just flies when you have done those runs. They were a lot longer though at that point, but now it's just a lot harder to get your runs and get them really well done of harder skips and strats. Interesting thing to keep in mind, by the way, Corpius was my first boss, and the next boss is gonna be like 30 minutes later. When normally our next boss will be cried in like 20 minutes or so. Insert elevator music. Funny thing about the studio that made this game, Mercury's team, they probably expected speedrunners or people finding a way to beat this game without Varia or Gravity Suit. So they pre-rendered all these cutscenes, even the loading screens, I say, and even the very last loading screen when you go to the final boss, that was also pre-rendered with both Varia and Power Suits. So they probably expected that, yeah, they're gonna find a way, I can imagine. Let's just pre-render all these. Why not? And they were right.
Gamers, reminder that if at any point you have any questions for Samu about anything, whether it be Metroid Dread or speedrunning or streaming, just pop it in the chat and I will I'll forward it on to Samu.
What's your favorite game to speedrun, Adef?
My favorite game to speedrun. Well, I started in 2012 with Mega Man 1 and played it pretty consistently until like 2019, so I think I probably should say that.
It will make sense.
I do love it, but I'm trying to think of like games I really love. I love playing Link Between Worlds and Breath of the Wild. Both of those are really, really fun runs.
Oh boy, again. So the door didn't open up there for me to do that. A little bit of time saver, and then enemy just got me off from the spider magnet, and I just wasted time there instead of saving any time.
It feels like in Metroid, like tiny mistakes sometimes amount to so much.
It does. Like, it's a speedrunning thing that when you make a mistake and it just keeps coming, like all those mistakes keeps coming. In every split, you lose 5 seconds. It just starts adding up. At some point, you're gonna be a minute behind just from losing 5 seconds in each splits.
Right.
Making less mistakes gives you better times, or doing faster strats even. But especially getting rid of all the mistakes is the best way to get a really good time. Then this green Emmy has some of the interesting spots because you can spawn right next to that door where we just went through. Or it can spawn in the left side and it's not even close to the door at all. Not sure why it does that, but that's what it does often. Got any questions in the chat? Dean?
Nothing right now, but I actually have a question for you, Sam.
Alright.
I'm curious what you think about this. We talked about what our favorite games are to run, stuff like that, but what is the most difficult speedrun you have ever learned?
Ooh, this is like this kind of vary a lot for everyone who's done speedruns, but if I have to pick one, I would say Metroid Prime is the hardest speedrun.
Really?
Yeah, and even though people are saying Sekiro is the hardest Souls-like kind of game they've played, I've speedrun it, and I didn't think it was that difficult, but that was mostly because there's some cheese strats and I learned the boss fights and such. But then there's a game like Super Mario 64 that is precisely in this movement complex, but how Garl Jobs described that in one of his videos was really well, because at the time when it was released, it was like complexity and something else that just why it's as a reason why it is the most popular speedrun game right now and still. But in terms of difficulty, movement glitches, I still would say Metroid Prime because of its movement. It is insanely good when it's done right, but all of that stuff is insanely hard to pull out. So when it comes to glitches, I would say Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, how complex that game is with all the glitches. It's hard to memorize all of that kind of stuff, I would say, and there's plenty of them. But I would lock my answer to Metroid Prime still.
My answer is always to this question, Wind Waker. Any percent after barrier skip was found. I have never played a run that even comes close to the difficulty level of what Wind Waker is right now. It is an hour of like non-stop, unbelievably difficult tricks.
Yeah, that's a good example of that. Really hard tricks makes the run really hard too.
Yes.
But when it's all completed and you get them all done first try, it feels like this is a beautiful run then when you get it all done.
Like the top 3 Wind Waker any percent runs right now, I would say are some of the best watches. Like you should really watch the Wind Waker any percent record. I think Iwabi holds it right now. It's either Iwabi or Alola Kirby.
Yeah.
You need to watch that run. It is unbelievable what they do.
And the difficulty is also interesting because I think Hollow Knight is a hard speedrun game too. And it's a hard game even casually. But that's also, I might base that opinion on the category I did when I learned that for a 12-hour challenge.
Oh yeah.
Even having an opinion on a 2D game, 3D game, which is harder, that's also like, everyone thinks differently.
Yeah, that's a difficult one to answer, like are 2D speedruns or 3D speedruns harder? I think it really is person to person and game to game, because, technically people would argue that since 3D games, there's another axis, there's tons of more movement options, blah, blah, blah. But like, there are tons of 2D games that I think are really, really hard.
One I can think of is Super Metroid. That
Yeah,
is
Super
a
Metroid, yeah.
hard speedrun game and hard game even casually.
Yeah, so like it depends on the person and it depends on the game for sure. There's no like end all be all rule. There is a question here that says, what is the hardest skip you had to learn?
For this game or anything.
Let's do both.
Okay, so for this game I would say at first axis Q, because we didn't understand how it works. But now when we understand how it works, we don't have that much issue with it. But I will still say axis Q was the hardest one for me to learn. Then overall, the hardest one is like an impossible question, I would say, because I've done so many games in the past years,
right.
and there's so many different tricks that I've done. I've even performed some tricks in games that I've just never speedrun, and I would think those are hard, but then after some practice, they become a lot easier.
Yeah.
So universally, I don't know what's the hardest trick I've ever learned, honestly.
It's a
way too
very
many.
difficult question.
Yeah, but if I ever get an answer to that, I'll definitely try to tell it on stream.
Follow Salmon on Twitch? For the,
You'll find my answer there.
Info.
Yeah, I'm just baiting everyone to watch my stream to ever find that answer to the what is the hardest speedrun trick I've ever learned. And after they get the answer, they can unfollow the channel. Bye-bye. Thanks for the watch, though.
There is a question here. How do you practice stuff in this game without save states?
I have all of my profiles in use for myself because I only use my Switch. Nobody else uses my Switch.
Yeah, that's kind of the main way for Switch games.
Yeah, so I use all of my profiles. We have 3 files for each profile, and I've beaten the game in... I think I've beaten the game in 5 profiles right now, so I have all those 5 profiles to use for my speedrun stuff. The main profile, my Samurai Man file, is always gonna be for speedruns, because I want to count in those hours. Because
Right.
with the other profiles, I don't have the way to count in those, because I would have to sign up with the Nintendo account for those, or make a new account to get hours in. But that's not really like the issue. I just want to make sure I have the play hours I've spent doing my speedruns at least on my main profile. In other profiles, I have all the test files, practice files here and there that are close to the spots where I think I need practicing and such. But nowadays, actually, when it comes to practicing, I don't actually practice offline that much. My practice is doing runs and doing testing and practicing on stream. Then offline, I do practice if I feel I really want this time, I really need to practice this trick that is giving me issues, or I feel like I'm rusty on this stuff, I'm not doing good on this stuff, then I do practice off stream. But nowadays, for me, the practicing off stream is not hours. At max, it's 1 hour practicing, then I will just do something else because I actually get bored of practicing on my own. But I do have some distraction
practice,
at least.
There are some people that really like practice. I think I used to be like that. Well, I kind of still am. I don't know. I like practice. It's very therapeutic for me in a game that I know well.
Practicing is interesting because there are actually runners who enjoys practicing more than doing runs.
Yeah.
And one of the good example I can think of is, you probably have heard of, all of you, Cyclemic for SM64. He actually preferred practicing more than doing runs. For some reason.
I kind of get it. I don't know. Practicing is like nice, and it's like mini speedrunning. Like you perfect a certain thing over and over and over and over and over again.
It's also probably was why, because of SM64. Maybe it varies with the game and the person, but SM64 felt like when I was doing a 1 week speedrun challenge, I did a 1 week speedrun challenge where I beat the game. Well, try to speedrun the game as fast as I can and see what kind of time I get without like knowing the game already or so, or I've speedrun it so little. And one of my games was SM64. I did 120 stars for it. And I actually enjoyed practicing more, a lot for that than doing runs.
Yeah.
Actually, somehow that game just wants you to practice more than doing runs. It's
I think
different.
platformers are really fun to practice.
Yeah,
It feels good to make the movement tight.
yeah. Without repeating myself too much, I'm a kind of person nowadays that I just don't enjoy practicing hours and hours a day.
Yeah.
So I do practice when it's a new game. I need a practice and such like that. I think the strength of me as a speedrunner, what I've noticed, and many people have said the same, is that I'm very consistent runner. I rarely make big mistakes that will just end the run and such. And that would like be really noticeable with my Sunshine runs. I don't play the game for like half a year, and I can still pull out like some 120-minute in any person just like that without playing the game for half a year.
Yeah,
And
consistency is
it's-
like such a good trait to have. I don't know if I'm super consistent, but I definitely de-rest quickly.
Yeah. So for me, Sunshine is also a game I've speedrun for so long, so it's like it's never going out from my muscle memory how I game.
Right, yeah, no, that makes complete sense. Question here, how do load zones affect time?
Loading zones like the in-game time, I actually don't know. Do they affect the in-game time? And it should be set time how long it takes for each of the loading zone. For example, Elun is the smallest area of the game. It takes the shortest to load that area. Here comes the invincibility glitch. There we go. I know I get that because the door turns red and it thinks that, okay, someone's just got through or is coming out of there. Let's just make this block the door so she's not going through to be back there immediately. This makes us invincible to enemies and heat rooms and cold rooms. Also lava. You're supposed to get to lava when you have gravity suit, but no, we can actually get to that with just a power suit too.
Question for you here, Samu. What is Samu's favorite category for Dread?
I haven't get to do all bosses runs that much, but I would still pick that possibly because I do enjoy boss fights in Red. And that's like the sad part for me for any person was that any person skips the best boss fight, my favorite at least. Experiment boss fight. Also Cried is now skipped. And Rokuga doesn't get any love in any speedruns actually, so it's nice to see that as well for all bosses. And it's a little bit different than any percent. I would pick all bosses. I haven't get to try low percent yet, so and pick up that. And it will be probably a brutal category because anything one-shots you in a late game. Don't get any E-tanks.
So how are we feeling about this run so far, Samu?
Can't say much until I get to the blast shift, but I'm feeling pretty nice about it.
Good.
That's the only time we get to see the experiment there. when X gets released from Elun, experiment is gone from that room. Because the X takes over that. Also, the funny thing is that if you skip Trokuka and Cried, X actually takes over those two, and the boss fights are not there anymore if you have skipped them. Burenia next. Burenia is actually one of my favorite areas. Somehow I've usually liked these kind of water worlds. Even if you don't go underwater, somehow I still like these kind of water worlds or areas. Cave Run is my favorite area of the whole game.
There's a question here that I think we can answer. It says, for the speedrunning community, how much time is spent trying to perfect trying to find new glitches / paths versus perfecting a run? It's kind of like there are people that do one or the other, and there are people that do both. But I would say that, a sort of broad stroke answer to this question would be that typically there is a type of person who likes to do route finding and glitch hunting, and a different type of person that likes to do runs. Granted, there are plenty of people that like both. But, it's kind of a split.
Yeah, it's a pretty split. Some runners they like to do runs, they don't want to hunt for glitches. Then it's vice versa for some people. They want to do glitch hunting. They don't want to do speedruns. It might be because they enjoy just playing the game, testing something that they know about the game, or don't have time for speedruns. It's different.
Yeah.
I'm kind of both actually, but I'm more towards to doing runs than finding glitches. But I still try my best to see if I can find something by just testing something I have in my mind. What about you, Adef?
I love glitch hunting a lot, but now being, full-time streaming, glitch hunting isn't as sexy as runs. It's not as attractive, so I don't really do much glitch hunting these days because I'd rather spend time, like you say, making content or doing runs. But it's really fun. I'm definitely a speedrunner first, but glitch hunting is really great. It's like science, and it's really nice.
Yeah. When
I
a
like
new game
writing
is
my
out,
own routes for things, though. That's really fun.
when a new game is out, that's when I see if I can find any glitches.
Yeah, that first period when the game is fresh, it's exciting.
Ooh,
That was fast.
That wasn't bad at all. Yeah, when a game is released, that's when I try if I can find any glitches. Then I have to spend my time doing a run or two.
Right.
If I like the game, I'll do more runs for it. Metroid Dread is a kind of game I enjoy playing a lot, so I've been doing runs for it since the release pretty much.
And of course, the next logical question people always ask is well, how do you find glitches? And the answer is not one single thing. I would say that the blanket answer is, you know a lot about the game and how it works, and once you understand a lot of the mechanics, you can start to think about, okay, well, how can I abuse the fact that if I combine several of these mechanics in a certain way, maybe it will result in something the game doesn't intend. Whether that be oh, the collision is weird and slopey here, and my jump allows me to gain speed if I jump down the slope, or in this game, oh, it looks like the wave beam can shoot through collisions sometimes. Can I hit something?
Though not only that you know the game, but glitches can be found by accident.
Yeah, I would say most of the big stuff in games is usually found by accident.
Yeah, so if you are familiar with Majora's Mask, there is a glitch called index warp. That was that found accident or something?
Yeah, it's called index warp because of index stick.
Yeah, the runner named Index Stick found it.
I think it was partially by accident, yeah.
Yeah, so then another one I can think of is actually the super slide? No, item sliding in the Wind Waker HD.
Yes.
That was found by accident. It wasn't found by someone who just knows the game. It was by accident.
It's actually, if you ever feel like your game has gone stale, or if you feel like nothing has been found in a while, sometimes a strategy to find new stuff is look up really low view Let's Plays on YouTube. Or look up like weird Metroid glitch and find something with like 2 views that's recorded with a phone camera. Sometimes people who are not familiar with speedrunning at all found something weird and uploaded it to YouTube.
And who knows, maybe that ends up being the biggest skip in a whole game that
Yeah,
you ever
exactly.
find.
And then, of course, other times there are like people who've dismantled the code of a game and they know what they're looking for. They're just trying to do the specific science to make it happen. That's like more Skyward Sword.
Yeah, Skyward Sword is like that kind of stuff. Well, actually, the back in time in the Twilight
That was
Princess.
an accident. In
That
Twilight
was an
Princess.
accident, actually. And what's funny about Twilight Princess back in time, it's frame perfect.
Yeah, and it was completely by accident.
Yeah, and that's the first game where it was found too. Fortunately,
And-
they run in the same engine, so
Yeah.
people figured out that the Windpecker runs in the same engine. It works on this. Then in the Skyward Sword, they tried it at first, didn't work, but it worked with the game over screen instead. It's interesting how, just cannot be found only with the science, but by accident too. By just accidentally resetting a console playing perfectly and you're in a title screen. Oopsie.
It's kind of like, so many people play the games that, over time you're bound to have something happen by accident. Just throwing so many playthroughs at a game, it's bound to break eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, the best item in the game. Let's go. Speed stuff. This missile blast tank, I got it in a different way than here. I actually got the speed boost on this part where I am currently. Store the shine spark, then I released it again on the slope so I can restart the shine spark while I had to open the block. It's something. Just making it as hard as possible, basically, to make something simple.
No, Skyward Sword HD is not nearly as broken as the original.
No, it doesn't have a back in time.
Yeah, I mean, like, back in time would theoretically work, but you can't reset the console, so
Yeah,
it is not
if it
possible.
had, it would be as broken as the original.
Yeah, but
But
it
it has some
actually,
others.
it still saves so much time over the same route on the original because the text is so much faster.
Yeah, and also the loading time is probably faster, and for a longer run, it just adds up every time
Yeah.
you save time somewhere for loading time.
It still has cool glitches and stuff and a lot of stuff from the original, but the big major one back in time it does not have.
Alright, we have the camera lock coming up, so I have to raise up the volume for my monitor quickly.
Good luck.
I had to raise up my volume for my monitor so I can hear the game audio better for the camera lock glitch. And here we go again. For those who have seen. And the chat goes wild. What's happening? For Samus, just enjoy the crabs in the background for a while. I'm not sure why is that not working, actually. That is so interesting. You have to be just a small movement I did wrong in that one room. I was pretty much stuck in that cold room where I go through the upward shaft. Maybe there's like a small movement wrong there. But yeah, that's a camera lock, so basically everything is unloaded. Most of the stuff is not solid at that point. Doors are not solid, I can just walk through them. It's actually possible to get to the Piranha elevator right away like that too.
Still look very good to me, Samuel. I mean, granted, I couldn't see anything, but...
Yeah, it's a kind of glitch that is like, what just happened? For anyone who's never seen that. Shortly explained, I lock the camera in place, then I can have stuff unloaded out of my screen, and I'm able to move in a cold room without taking any hits and such. But everything is open, doors are open, blocks are out of my way, stuff like that. And as long as I know where I'm going, I'll be able to get to this crew attack early like that. Why I messed up that movement.
And you know, gamers, this is sort of the time where you might be like, oh my god, he's 54 seconds behind. That's such a big red split. What does he do? But it's not over. Look at the best possible time. PB is still possible.
Yeah, if everything got right. And I beat all of my cold splits. But I think at this point we have no time to reset too, so we have to go with this one. Screw attack is supposed to be gotten after a gravity suit, but you get it even before into carb run. It's actually possible to get screw attack even without camera lock, but that glitch is like insanely difficult what you have to do. I can show, if we have time, I can show what it looks like. In this current run, it's not done actually, and that glitch is called Shine Shink Clip. If we have time, I'll show it in the end. It doesn't take too long, as long as I'm just able to pull it out. But it's pretty hard. Glitch too.
Yeah, we'll see.
So how are you liking the run so far? People
It's
watching?
really, I mean, like, you know, in classic sort of Metroid speedrunning style, right? There's a lot of heavy sequence breaks. And even as somebody that hasn't played the game casually yet, it's really evident that, like, I mean, obviously the camera lock is pretty obvious, but, you know, it's evident that you're skipping a lot of things that would make the game easier or safer. And it's super interesting. And for me, what makes a speedrun great is not necessarily like a bunch of glitches, though that is cool. For me, cool movement is like the thing. And this game's movement is so sick.
And the movement is like the really big thing I enjoy running certain games a lot.
It's just, this game is really pretty as well. It's fun to look at. I'm a fan.
At first when the game was released, even if I wasn't doing any runs, I was still enjoying playing the game a lot.
Right. So I know that we talked about like camera lock is definitely one of the scarier parts, and then of course there's the skew later that's definitely scary, but like, you know, we're definitely in the latter half of the run here, so what are the scary moments that are left?
The Rakugan skip is one, though with the current setup is not too bad, but if I lose the angle too much and I'm panicking, then I need to get this quickly, because that's like a speedrunning thing that if you don't get something quickly, you easily panic on that. And I will say that's one part. Then final boss fights we have both Dojo holders.
I have them.
Other than that, I don't think there's like a invincibility glitches that we have to get. Axis Q is also one, though it's really easy to try it again, so it's not too bad.
Right. It's just, wow, the like, I mean, the screw attack obviously looks nice, but the dashing that is available to you after getting, you know, Shine Spark and everything looks so good.
Yeah, with Speed Booster, they really improved that a lot. You're able to do wall jumps with that, and you can slide more, like so much cool stuff. Which is why these Purania Speed Booster strats that I'm gonna show right now are my favorites in the whole run right now. Alright, don't blink because you're gonna see some amazing speed booster strats here. I messed up that. Okay, now you can blink. Okay, let's take it the other one. There you go. Getting that Shine Spark through that is very fancy and it feels good.
Oh, it looks great. It's sort of the same as Super Metroid, right? All the cool segments where you're trying to keep Shine Spark.
Yeah. Are you serious with this? Okay, it's patched. Okay, seriously. It's actually really hard to keep that angle, your right thumb. Those who don't know, I'm actually using my right joystick. It's not used for anything in this game, so we have mapped the right joystick to act as the same as the left joystick, which is the movement joystick. And with the right joystick, what I'm doing, I'm holding that right down left direction in a specific spot. So I'm able to shoot that direction after the slide and turning away from the wall. And that makes it consistent. It's still hard, but it's a lot more better than doing it without. Without that, it was something that you would never want to do, honestly.
It's also funny that, you know, it's another one of those things where the angle is so precise, so once you got the first shot, you got all 3 in a row, basically.
Yeah. Heat booster here, nice bar, and triple screw attacks, and is that?
Man, the screw attack is so powerful.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful in this game. If you weren't getting hit there at all, you would just do a single screw attack to it and it dies because screw attack hits every frame, pretty much.
Uploading data.
Sam is the one.
We have a question in chat here. Will that work with the early cloak pseudo wave?
What specifically?
I think specifically like the right joystick thing.
It probably works, but it will be really uncomfortable to use that because your shooting button is in your right side of the joystick, and you also have the right joystick in your right side of the controller. So you would have to use a cloth grip or like rebind more buttons to be able to shoot. So it might be possible. Probably really hard, but I don't know if it's worth it then. Probably depends on people if they're able to find a method for it. But anything that makes something easier is always gonna be better in the end.
Gamers, reminder that if you got any questions, you're running out of time to get your answers. We've only got less than 20 minutes here.
Yeah, otherwise you have to come to my stream to ask your questions.
Which you should do, by the way. The link is in the chat. And if you're on YouTube, I guess I should have mentioned, the link is in the
Yeah,
description.
I also upload YouTube videos every week, 2 or 3 times, so I'm active there as well.
The thumbnail game is on point. That's half the battle. How good do your thumbnails look?
I'm not the one who makes my thumbnails, actually. My friend Genku makes them.
They look good.
They're amazing, thank you. So thanks to him. He's a kind of friend who helps me with stuff like this for content creating, so without him, this will be really hard, so thanks a lot to him.
Heck yeah. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh. That's a good one. I don't know, it would be boring to be invincible, so... maybe an ability to stop time.
We got Dio over here. I choose flight for sure.
Flying is also really good, you're never gonna miss anything and don't have any issues to get out of the forest if you're lost there or something.
Yeah, and also like I feel like I would never do anything else.
True.
And also there's a question here. I'm sorry I missed it earlier, but what is your favorite music track in Dread?
I like the Bringstar remix, but if we don't wanna go with the remixes, I would say Final Boss Fight music is pretty good. I like it.
Probability manipulation. That's an interesting one. Rewinding time. That's another good one.
Yeah, these are some good ones.
How about this? If you could have any one of Samus's abilities, what would it be?
Oh. Probably screw attack.
I'll take the Varia suit.
You can go to the volcano and be... Yeah, this is fine.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah. I'm just burning here.
Doesn't that let her swim underwater as well, or did she already do that?
No, it's a gravity suit that lets you swim under lava.
Alright, then I'll take the gravity suit.
An upgrade.
Uploading data. Let's have his revive.
We cannot pull out this booster strat here. I get blocked by the enemy again, or my own mistake. I got hit by the wall. That's how I lost my speed.
Speedrunner's not taking speed booster, for shame. Question here, how long did it take you to learn the route?
It took me... I actually did the first run. I got that glitch, okay. So I did my first... I usually do my first speed runs for like almost without knowing the route actually. But knowing where to go and playing the game. That's like how I usually... I always like to start like being bad at the game. Then getting better at it just by playing more and practicing then. So I did my first playthrough, then I did a second playthrough, and after that I did my first run actually. So just 2 playthroughs, and I did my first run. It wasn't a world record, but my second run I practiced a little bit more, and that was a world record actually. My second run was the world record. Yeah, that's pretty nerdy stuff, right? Practicing so hard for a new game.
It's all for the content.
Yeah. And where did Golsuna go? Disappeared, man. That boss is Golsuna, by the way. The name. So, when a new game is out, and I guess it depends on a game, I do want to play through it a couple times before I do my first run. For Sekiro, when I did a first speedruns, 1 week speedrun challenge, I did it for that as well. I actually did learn everything as I need to, and I know what I need to do if I mess up some boss fights, because these strats wouldn't work the same way because I don't have the power-ups to make myself stronger and such. So I did spend a lot of time practicing bosses, and then I did my first run.
That makes sense. He killed him very quickly because he was invincible from a previous glitch that allowed him to just do like shine sparks and screw attacks to take it down quickly.
If you noticed what I was doing with an emitter, that's how I got the invincibility glitch. It happens fast, and it's also really easy to forget that that's a glitch, because the first time we see it happens like 20 minutes in of the run. That's the next time we do it. And here in Verenia, we're gonna do it two more times.
I love these elevator loads. They look so cool.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. Still pretty dark for the elevator though. Only see Samus, but at least doesn't take a minute.
Right.
For a physical copy, if you poke the disc or the little thing that tastes horrible,
Cartridge?
then yeah, the cartridge, then that's like a lot longer loading times, unfortunately, for those people. I'm playing on digital copy. Oh, this Emmy really likes to throw me today, Okay, that's not good. That's not good. I'll go this way. Okay, okay. Oh, but that's an adventure. This Emmy is surely something. Better than last time when I died, actually.
Yeah, that was very close avoiding the Emmy, especially when you were in the water. You missed it by just mere moments.
Yeah. There's actually a crash that can happen with an X core, and it probably is mostly because of those excess releasing from the core that can crash the game. I want to be careful with that. I haven't had an error yet where the game just gives you an error and it just closes the game. And if that happens, the run is over because you never saved during the run.
That would be tough.
Yeah. That enemy in a previous room, I have no other way to kill it that well because I don't have a space jump or speed boost, so I have to kill it that way. Oh boy. Every time if you go through the enemy zone.
So it's better to be early than late.
Yeah. You have to wait for it to open again. And sometimes it doesn't work, and I'm not too sure why that would happen, but I would assume it happens because you're too fast. Also, these are... oh yeah, never mind. I'm not gonna explain anything about these robots because they're just gone. They're just gone.
Good luck with the axis skew.
Thanks. Then space jump is overall better upgrade, like far better than spin boost, because spin boost double jump is not that much height. Meanwhile, space jump height for each jump is a lot better than spin jump would give you. It's better to get a space jump as an upgrade than spin boost. Even though spin boost is like closer, but it's not that bad at least for space jump with the current strats. How to get that upgrade instead. Alright, so everyone, don't blink if you wanna see this glitch, an axis skew. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm gonna melee counter Emmy and I'm gonna run in an axis. There you go. That's what happens. And thanks to that glitch, we're able to get ourselves a shine spark while not running any direction pretty much, but the bar's us, but we don't run the bar's us actually. Without that, we are not able to skip gravity suit or boat suit upgrades. You softly lock yourself to the deep water if you drop down there. Now we just beat the purple enemy, and we're off our way to get the last upgrade. It's a power bomb. Yeah, that's the kind of run.
This run is looking solid again, Samu.
It's looking really good. It's like it's another 140, unless something goes wrong. If you ever want to learn this game, there is a dedicated Discord channel for this that can be found in speedrun.com, and people are surely happy to help you out to learn this game. I also have a tutorial series for Metroid Dread 80%, but it uses the older route that does like pretty much all of the bosses if you want to, and the newer routes are just a lot harder, and there are some tutorials, individual tutorials for like how to do camera lock and such. But for starters, my tutorial is quite good, and if you want something more advanced, then you have to ask in a Discord and check out some other videos.
I was about to say, I think somebody I know has an excellent tutorial series on Metroid Dread on their YouTube channel. And it's Samurai Man.
Yeah, it's outdated one. Literally that hour when I finished it on stream, it was already outdated. New stuff was found right away. At that moment when I was doing that tutorial on stream, at the same time people were able to find a way to get a screw attack early. The other method, not the one that you've seen in the run now.
Right.
So they were able to figure out that, save a couple minutes.
Also, forthcoming flashing lights warning for photosensitive viewers.
Let's close your eyes for a couple of seconds. Right now.
This whole segment is kind of flashy.
Now again. Again, close the eyes. And one more. During the boss fight, there's a chance I might have to use a power bomb as well, so keep in mind for that. And during the final phase, actually, around where. That was the last one, unless we use one in the final boss. You can see Samus glowing red there. That's mostly because you have the power suit. Fancy though. Oh yeah, we have one more power bomb just before the final boss. Then with the power bomb, the final boss, if we have to use one. Actually, because we're in the final minutes, I'm actually gonna show the last cutscene with the Raven Peak after a fight. I wanna show you something interesting in that cutscene that can happen because we have a power suit. I won't spoil what it is, but it's gonna be amazing when you see it.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to it.
Power bomb coming up now. Close your eyes. Now we start the final boss. Final boss has RNG, so you mostly have to react to what it does.
Yeah, the photosensitive part is over mostly, or essentially.
At least for now, if I have to use one in third phase. Because we have super missiles instead, we deal actually a lot more damage with super missiles for the first phase, and that's how we can skip the cold phase. With the ice missiles, you deal a lot less damage for some reason. They probably nerfed that just to make sure that you're not able to skip that. Okay, the power bomb is coming up now for photosensitive people. And again. That's not a good RNG if it happens twice like that. This has been an interesting RNG, I have to say. There we go. Okay, this is where I will skip the cutscene, but because I want to show you something that happens because of having a power suit, you're gonna see this glitch here. I'm telling you when it happens, then pay close attention to the screen, because you're gonna miss it if you don't move. Don't blink then when I say it. I would have got a 114 with this run, but you know, no, it's just 114. Normally you will have gravity suit on this point. You can beat the game with power or fire suit. And because of those two suits, there's actually a glitch that can happen this cutscene. With a gravity suit, that doesn't happen. So now, it's coming up soon. Not yet. Alright, open your eyes and look at the screen now. Look carefully now. You saw that?
Did she like
So-
not have a hand there?
Yeah, she was supposed to have a hand, but no, there wasn't no hand thanks to the power suit.
Weird.
I'll just let the cutscene play. It's a pretty cool cutscene anyway. Spoilers for you, by the way.
Yeah, I figured as much. I'll go ahead and sort of start the outro here as we get into this final segment. Gamers, thank you so much for watching PB Precipice. This is only our second official episode so far, so it's very exciting. Let me see if I know for sure what's going to happen in 2 weeks. Yes, I think I can safely say that the next PB Precipice in 2 weeks will be Breath of the Wild All Dungeons with Smitch. And then this Friday, Challenger approaching, is Dark Souls, so that should be exciting. That's what's going on in my neck of the woods for Hotfix coming up. But gamers, again, thank you so much for watching. But do not go away. The first thing you got to do is follow Samu on Twitch, of course. And then the other thing you got to do is stick around because there's more Hotfix content right after this. In fact, directly after the show, it will be It's Dangerous to Go Alone with Celeste Bingo. Additionally, the AGDQ 2022 schedule is out. You can check it out at gamesdonequick.com/schedule. And Games Done Quick Some of Best Segments is now launched on YouTube. It's a highlight channel with regular videos like our main channel, but with small highlight reels for all of our main events and hotfix. And with that, Samu, let's see the end of this run.
Yes. Hyper Beam is a pretty powerful. It breaks every block. Literally any block in a game. Pitfall blocks as well. The blocks that you would go through, but you cannot get through them anymore when you go through them once. All of these blocks you see are either power bomb blocks or screw attack blocks.
That movement is so sick.
Yeah, it's pretty fun movement. So there you go. That's
Samu. Get your GGs in the chat, gamers.
Thank you. That's Metroid Dread any percent. Unrestricted. Everything allowed.
Any
assume-
last thoughts, Samu?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy how this runs went. I had a really good time. Thank you for inviting me, ADF, for this
Of course.
show. I have one question. We don't have enough time to show that one glitch I was talking about. Wanna go to the next show already?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think just we'll probably pop to the next show just because we're technically supposed to start right now.
Yeah, okay, so I can explain quickly what is the Shine Shin clip. It's a, shortly said, you can clip through floors. And in this game, out of bounds kills you everywhere in a game. Out of bounds always kills you. But with that glitch, Shine Shin clip, you can clip through 4 floors that are 1 block. That's all I can say about it without showing anything.
You'll have to go to Samu's stream to check out what that might be and to see more Metroid Dread content. So be sure to follow Samu. And again, stick around, gamers. Just after this break, we are going to have more hotfix content. So don't go anywhere. And thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me again.